On the streets of Tehran, clashing with government forces. Well, now, on the anniversary of the vote, reports emerge from the Iranian capital of new protests. Our Reza Sayegh is from Iran. He joins us now from Islamabad with the very latest. Reza, what information have you been able to pull together on these clashes?
Rosemary, the Saturday started very quietly in Tehran, but over the past 4 hours, we've seen a lot of activity. We've been speaking to witnesses throughout the day, and they say over these past 4 hours, they're seeing pockets of clashes, pockets of protests, some arrests, but this is another day where it looks like, according to witnesses, security forces and their numbers are overwhelming the protesters. And if they see any indication that protesters are gathering, they chase them away. Based on amateur video that's posted on YouTube, the biggest protest appears to be taking place at Sharif University in downtown Tehran. Let's show you that video. And indeed, we spoke to a student at Sharif University, and it told us between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. local time, there was a protest inside Sharif University where students chanted pro-Mir Hossein Mousavi slogans. He is the opposition leader, of course, anti-government slogans. And after about an hour, the protests were broken up, and there you see some police officers arriving at Sharif University. Witnesses tell us the first clashes they saw took place at Vali Ash Square in Tehran. They say security forces tried to disperse growing crowds over there. These security officers, many of them on motorcycles, wielding batons. At least 4 people were arrested there and blindfolded. We're hearing some of the people being arrested are being covered with black hoods, something we haven't heard before. Witnesses say in another incident, Vali Ash Square, security forces tried to arrest a young woman, and bystanders chased the security forces away, and the woman escaped. So, Rosemary, at this hour, witnesses are telling us things are thinning out at major squares and major intersections. It looks like people did show up, but again, they were outnumbered. Based on all the witness accounts that we're hearing, they were outnumbered by a huge number of security forces and members of the pro-government militia, the Basij, Rosemary.
And Reza, given what we all witnessed a year ago, it's not a surprise that these events have unfolded like this, is it? Because the security forces would have been very much on alert, knowing exactly what was going to happen on the streets today.
Yeah, and security forces have been on alert since Thursday. Since Thursday, witnesses in Tehran telling us they set up checkpoints throughout the city, inspecting vehicles, even stopping bystanders and questioning them. They anticipated this day, just like they'd anticipated previous protests. And of course, over the past few months, we've seen the number of protests drop dramatically. And of course, a couple of days ago, the opposition leaders themselves, Mir Hossein Mousavi and Mehdi Karoubi, called off these demonstrations because they didn't get permission from the government. Many anticipated that despite the demonstrations being called off, many people would still show up and protest, and it looks like they did. Some people did show up and protest. And talking to some of the witnesses, one of them overheard someone saying, "We are victors today," Rosemary.
All right, Reza Sayegh reporting there, bringing us up to date on what is happening there on the streets of Tehran. Appreciate that.